My phone rang early on a Wednesday morning, and it was my old friend Colin. He is 71 years old, a retired plumber from outer Sydney, and he has been on the Age Pension for 4 years. Colin is a careful man. He reads every Centrelink letter the day it arrives, and he checks his bank balance every fortnight like clockwork. So when he called, I knew straight away he was not calling to chat. He said someone at the Bowls Club had told him the pension was changing in September, and he wanted to know if it was true, and if it was, whether he should be doing something about it. I told him yes, it is true, and whether that change works for him or against him depends entirely on what he does between now and then. He went quiet for a moment, and then he said something that has stuck with me ever since. Nobody tells you this stuff, he said. You just have to hope someone mentions it at the Bowls Club. That is exactly why this video exists. Welcome to my channel, and if you are new here, I'm glad you found this video at exactly the right time, because today we are talking about the most important date on the retirement calendar for Australian pensioners, and most people only find out about it by accident, the same way Colin did. September 20th, 2026 is the next confirmed age pension indexation date, and it is locked in by Services Australia and the Department of Social Services. On that date, two enormous things happen at once. Your payment rate is recalculated, and the income and asset thresholds that decide whether you get a full pension, a part pension, or nothing at all are updated. That sounds like good news, and for a lot of people it will be. But here's the part almost nobody understands. Whatever Centrelink has on file for you right now, today, is what your new September payment gets calculated against. If those details are wrong, outdated, or incomplete, your new payment will be wrong from day one, and it can stay wrong for months.
Until somebody catches it. So today I am walking you through 5 things every Australian senior needs to do before September the 20th. Because what happens on that date and whether it works in your favor or against you is being decided right now in the weeks before the change actually lands. This is Australia Pension Hub, and let us get into it. Before we get to the 5 things, let me quickly explain what happens on that date, because understanding it is what makes each step matter. On September the 20th, the base pension rate, the pension supplement, and the energy supplement are all reviewed and adjusted using the Consumer Price Index, the Pensioner and Beneficiary Living Cost Index, and Male Total Average Weekly Earnings, with whichever measure produces the higher outcome being applied. Right now, the maximum rate for a single pensioner sits at $1,200.90 per fortnight, and that number changes on the 20th. At the same time, the upper cutoffs for the income and assets tests move too, which means some people previously just over a threshold will suddenly fall under it, and some currently on a part pension may move to the full rate automatically. The recalculation is applied to whatever Centrelink currently has on file for your income, assets, bank balances, and superannuation. If that information is stale, the new rate starts on the wrong foot, which is why getting ahead of this now matters so much. Thing number 1 is to update every single financial asset detail Centrelink has on file for you right now. This is the most important item on this list, and it is also the one most pensioners skip because they assume their details are already correct. They very often are not. Centrelink does not automatically update your financial position when your circumstances change. When your savings account balance drops because you've been drawing it down to cover everyday costs, Centrelink does not know. When your superannuation balance shifts because of market movement, Centrelink does not know. When a term deposit matures and the money moves to a different account, Centrelink has no idea unless you tell them. Here is why this matters so much heading into the 20th. The new rates and thresholds get applied to whatever figures are sitting on file. If your real savings balance today is lower than what is recorded, you have 2 problems working against you at once. Your current pension is being calculated on an inflated asset figure, so your current payment is already lower than it should be. And when September arrives, the new thresholds get applied to that same inflated number, so your new payment starts too low as well. Fixing this before the 20th solves both problems in one move. Log in to MyGov today, open your Centrelink profile, and check every financial detail. Your bank balances, term deposits, share portfolio, superannuation if you are over pension age, and any investment property values. Anything that has changed, update it now while there is still time for Centrelink to process it before the change takes effect. Thing number 2 is to check whether you are sitting near a threshold and prepare for the impact either way. This is the detail that catches the most people off guard at every indexation date, and it can cut in both directions. When the asset test thresholds move upward, some people who were previously just over the cutoff will fall below it and start receiving a pension for the first time, or their part pension will increase. But here is the twist. If deeming rates rise at the same time as the indexation, your deemed income can go up enough to offset or even outweigh the benefit of the higher payment rate and the higher threshold. National Seniors Australia has been raising exactly this concern, warning that some pensioners could actually end up with less money in September than they had the fortnight before, despite the indexation.
Increase if deeming rates climb at the same time. The deeming rate recommendation for this round is expected to be announced roughly a month ahead of the change, so it is worth watching for that announcement closely. What you need to do now is understand your own situation. Know whether you are on the full pension or a part pension. And if it is a part pension, know whether it is the income test or the assets test that is limiting your payment, because that single fact determines how the September changes will land for you. If you are not sure, the Services Australia online estimator or a financial advisor can help you work it out. Thing number 3 is that if you were told in the past that you did not qualify, it is time to reassess and apply now, before the 20th. This is the item that costs people the most money, and it is completely avoidable. Every indexation round, the asset thresholds move upward, and every round there are Australians who were previously over the cutoff who now fall under it and qualify for a pension they are not receiving. The trouble is, most were told no once, accepted it, and never checked again. Here is the expensive part. The age pension is not backdated to the date you became eligible, only to the date you submit your application. If you become eligible on the 20th but do not apply until weeks or months later, every fortnight of payment between those two dates is gone permanently. If your situation is close to the threshold, or the September increase might tip you under it, lodge your application now, because the date you apply is the date that determines when your payments actually begin. Thing number 4 is to review your pension supplement payment arrangement. The pension supplement is one of 3 components that make up your total pension, and for singles, the current maximum sits at $65.20 per fortnight, folded into that overall payment. What a lot of pensioners do not realize is that
you can choose to have this component paid quarterly instead of fortnightly, which suits people who prefer a larger lump sum 4 times a year to cover bigger bills like electricity, insurance, or council rates, rather than a smaller top-up every 2 weeks. This option has been around for a while, but plenty of eligible pensioners simply do not know it exists. With rates changing on the 20th, now is a sensible moment to think about whether your current arrangement still suits the way you manage your household budget, and if a quarterly payment would help, a quick call to Centrelink is all it takes to switch. Thing number 5, and it sounds almost too simple to matter, is to make sure your bank account details with Centrelink are correct. This one quietly causes more delayed and missed payments than anything else on this list, and the last thing you want is a banking hiccup landing on the exact fortnight your new rate is supposed to start. People change banks, close old accounts, open new ones, and simply forget to update Centrelink. And sometimes banks merge and reissue BSB numbers without anyone noticing on the Centrelink side. If your details are wrong, your payment does not arrive, and untangling it takes real time you spend without the money you are relying on. Log in to MyGov today, go to your payment destination details, and confirm both your BSB and account number are current, especially if you have switched banks or accounts at any point in the last couple of years. Let me bring all 5 together quickly. Update every financial and asset detail on file with Centrelink right now. Understand whether the income test or the assets test is limiting your payment, and keep an eye out for the deeming rate announcement. If you were previously told you did not qualify, reassess against the current thresholds, and apply now if you think you are close. Review whether your pension supplement should be paid quarterly rather than fortnightly, and confirm your
bank account details are current before the new rate begins. Colin did every single one of these 5 things the same week he called me. He logged into MyGov, updated his savings balance, which had actually dropped by around $40,000 since his last update, because he had been drawing it down to cover living costs over the past 18 months, confirmed his bank details, and reviewed his supplement arrangement. When I spoke to him again last week, he said something I want every person watching this to really hear. He said his pension went up immediately after he updated his savings balance, not because of September, just because Centrelink finally had the correct number. He had been receiving less than he was entitled to for a long time, not because of any rule or any error, simply because his details were out of date and nobody had ever told him to check. September the 20th, 2026 is confirmed, and it is coming whether we prepare for it or not. The pensioners who take these 5 steps beforehand are the ones who will receive every dollar they are entitled to from the very first fortnight of the new rate. Do not leave it to chance, and do not assume it will sort itself out on its own. If this video helped you, hit like right now. It genuinely helps this channel reach more Australian seniors who need to see this before September the 20th. Subscribe to Australia Pension Hub so you never miss an update,
and we will bring you the confirmed September rates, thresholds, and deeming figures the moment they are locked in. Drop a comment below and let me know when you last updated your financial details with Centrelink. I read every single one, and that might be the most useful question you answer all week. And if you know someone on the pension, please share this with them, because September is coming, and the people who are ready for it are the ones who benefit most.